Howdy, the U.S. Piper with you yet again. Happy International Pipe Smoking Day. 2020. That's pretty cool, I guess. I thought I'd kind of redo this and just run two blends together. They're both C&D blends. One is Epiphany, their take on Revelation, the old-time blend, who Sutliff also has a match of. Let me light this. Relight this, rather. Anyway, little Missouri Immersion Pride. Still rocking. I smoked it last night. I smoked probably 4 or 5 bowls of it over the last couple days. Just trying to decide, revisiting it on the Epiphany. And I started to think I liked it, and then I couldn't tell if I really liked it or if I just kind of liked it. And in the end, my general thoughts are, you've got basically Virginias, you've got Burleys, you've also got some Latakia, and you've got some Perique. Not a whole lot of Perique. Which is funny, because when I first tried it, I remember thinking, there's a lot of that Perique in it. But, you know, that was 6 or 7 months back. I wasn't smoking a lot of vapors then, so I don't know. It may have been when it was fresher. Both samples I'm talking about today have been jarred 6 or 7 months, and were ordered from bulk. And at the end of the day, here's my overall thought. It's interesting. It's an interesting blend. It's a study in what they were trying to accomplish. At the end of the day, I kind of feel like the Burleys outweigh the Virginias a little much. There could be a touch more Perique. Because I don't know this for sure, but I know in the Sutliff Match version, there's dark fired. No dark fired in this version. You get Perique and you get Latakia. You don't get very much Perique, and you don't get a lot of Latakia, but there's definitely enough. It almost is confusing to the rest of the blend, to my taste. I enjoy the extra mouthfeel and smokiness because I like Latakia, but I'm not sure I like it in that blend so much. It does what Latakia does, and the Burley still makes it out. There's not a whole lot of Virginia to start with, of any real meaning. And I kind of feel like the Perique mostly gets lost in the shuffle. That may have been a little more pungent and sharp when it was fresh. I kind of recall it that way, but I didn't have much of a palate for vapors and Virginias and stuff like that to weigh it against yet, so who knows. But at any rate, it shouldn't completely dissipate in 6 or 7 months to the level where it's pretty marginal, in my feeling. Does add a little bit of fruitiness. There's supposed to be a little bit of a fruity, citrusy topping in that. I don't really get that. Maybe, again, because it's been jarred and it's from bulk, who knows. It could be one of those that is a little bit different in a tin versus the bulk. There were times where I thought I really liked this, and there were times when I think it was just something different, and that was the extent of my like for it. So I'm not going to badmouth it. I just don't think they really got it. And that's without me really knowing exactly what the original Revelation brand was all about. But having read that the approach was a little different in the Sutliff Match, including dark fired, I could see a little bit more Virginia, a little less Burley, and I could definitely see a touch of dark fired bringing out a lot more balance and still improving the mouthfeel and the body and the smokiness without being as confusing as adding Latakia. It didn't really scratch the English desire because there were no Orientals. There was no Turkish leaf. You didn't have anything with any real tang to it because there wasn't enough Perique to do much. So it just kind of falls flat for me. It almost was something that I liked, but not not the thing. Not the thing in my opinion. I'll have to look up the Sutliff Match version and see what all's in it, but that may be something I possibly try in the future. However, in digging that out, I also found that I had pretty much a whole jar of the C&D Three Friars blend, which is kind of their take, I guess, on the Three Nuns. And this is a good tobacco. This is good. Now, this has also been jarred 6 or 7 months, keep in mind. And I remember on this thinking that it had a lot of perique when it was fresh. But again, that was probably more my palate and perception at the time. It still definitely does have more than the aforementioned blend does. I can detect it. It's adding a little tanginess, a little light pepperiness, but not a sharp pepperiness. More of an overall kind of low key spiciness. If you retrohale it, there's no mistaking that there's some in there. So it's definitely more. And I like it. And the Virginias in it are surprisingly good. You don't really turn to C&D normally. I mean, you might in like a GLP's possibly. Or, I don't know, the Captain Earl's. There's some good red Virginias in a lot of their blends. But, you know, they're not primarily where you turn to for a vapor. There are a few good vapors in the GLP's line, of course. And I kind of look at those as a little different than the regular rank and file C&D blends. And I think a lot of us do. They do burley blends like nobody's business. And they do some other interesting things, as does GLP's. GLP's has a surprising range of blends. Captain Earl's is probably as good in my opinion at what they do, but it's more focused, even though there are a few offshoots in it. Both excellent lines. And there are some really good ones hidden in the C&D line. I'm not saying there aren't. What I'm actually saying is this is one of them. This is one of them. I can taste some nice Virginia profiles. I can taste some perique. And you know what? There is burley in there. But it's not taking center stage. It's not walking all over everything. It's not heavy-handed. So technically, I think you would have to call this a Weber because there's Virginia perique, but there's also burley in it, if that's a thing. This is very, very good. Very, very good. It doesn't have all the nuances of Stonehenge, and it doesn't have the same profiles. It actually has more perique than Stonehenge does. I don't feel like it. I don't know. I almost feel like the burley is more tucked in here even than it is in Stonehenge Flake. And I feel like it's reasonably tucked in to where it's not overtaking anything in there. It's adding some nice nuttiness and cocoa hints. But I think you can actually taste it more, probably because of the louder perique in the C&D Three Friars. I think it comes out more pronounced, almost, in the Stonehenge Flake than it is in this. And that may be because of the increased perique. I have a feeling it probably is. But there's still a nice amount of burley in there. It burns very nice. It burns cool. It burns down into a really white-gray ash. Not at all a hot smoker. Smoking great in the cob. So, yeah, this could definitely be an all-day smoke if you're into that. Smoke it a little harder here. It's still nice. It's not doing anything horrible for having been, chooched a little bit there. I feel like the Perique does come out a little louder when you do that. You might get a bit more of the burly nuttiness. But the Virginias are still there. They're holding up. They're not the loudest note in the choir, but they're holding their own. They're adding a little sweetness, a little bit of citrus, which is really nice with the Perique. And you've got that stabilizing middle ground from the burley. So they may be an odd two to group together for a review, but overall, I'm not that excited about Epiphany. I think if you're mostly a burley smoker and you like Latakia, it might be something you might like. Honestly, I feel like you're probably going to be better off with Pirate Cake, which is mostly Latakia. But if you want that fix, do the Haunted Pirate Ship and, do a Haunted Bookshop mix with 50-50 with the Pirate Cake. And then you've really got something that stands out. But, yeah, I think where Epiphany failed to impress, in my opinion. And it doesn't seem like a lot of people are talking about it. A couple of years ago, everybody was, and you don't hear anything about it anymore. And I think that's kind of why. I just feel like it's one of those that's fallen through the cracks. Not because it's not good, but because it's just not great. And, there's going to be somebody that, oh, that's my all-day smoke. I love that. I can't believe you don't like it. Hey, that's why they make a bazillion flavors, right? But the Three Friars, that is pretty good. That is a pretty good smoke. It does some nice things. If I kind of almost wanted Elizabethan, but I wanted something I didn't have to worry about my cadence as much with, and something with less of a nick hit that I could just chooch fishing or doing something, more of an all-day smoke that I didn't have to worry about or think about. I knew it was going to burn nice and cool, was easy to load and pack. And this Three Friars, it's available in bulk, it's affordable. That's a winner. I mean, it's not a Scudo or, there's a million things out there that I love. But for what this is, it offers a lot. It offers a lot. I think this is legitimately more one to lift up as a largely forgotten blend that's actually pretty darn good. And the cool thing is you don't even have to drop 10 or 12 bucks on it. If you just want to try it, order you a couple ounces. It's not expensive. For half, you can get in for that half 10 price and still have a couple ounces to jar up, smoke over a week or so and see what you think about it. But I'll tell you, I like it. I like it. I'm probably going to be ordering more of this when I finally get to the... I don't know why I didn't smoke it more other than I just really hadn't gotten to this area much. It just kind of made the list, but it wasn't an area that I was exploring at the time. I was still trying to find my ultimate place in the English/Balkan field more. Excuse me. And I think I just ordered a few different things to try just to fill out the order because it was a pretty big order. And it was one of those times where I think a lot of their bulk stuff was on sale. So I'm glad that I have it. It's sat there pretty much on... I think I've smoked it one time in the last 6 or 7 months that I can recall. And I think that may have even just been the Epiphany because there was hardly anything out of this jar. So I couldn't have smoked it a total more than a couple bowls worth. This sucker was almost to the rim. But, yeah. I'm not going to run this real long. I don't want it to be super long because I got a slow upload speed here. But, yeah, C&D Three Friars, man. Available in bulk. Smokes great in a cob. It's a vapor you can enjoy and don't have to worry about. It loads great, burns great. A lot of flavor there. A lot of flavor there. I like that it has the burley mid-range without the burley taking everything over. So to me, yeah, this is a winner. Gold star. Give it a try, man. You might dig it. The U.S. Piper with it. You guys have a blessed evening.